Jasmine Crockett's fearless courtroom presence has become one of her defining qualities, allowing her to dismantle high-profile opponents with a level of precision and boldness that few can rival. From the moment she steps into the courtroom, her demeanor communicates confidence, control, and determination. She does not shrink in the face of power or wealth, nor does she waver when confronted by reputations that others might consider intimidating. Instead, she thrives in such environments, knowing that the law is her greatest weapon and that truth, when wielded effectively, can pierce through even the most carefully constructed defenses. Her mastery lies not just in her knowledge of the law but also in her ability to read people, anticipate arguments, and strike at the weaknesses that others fail to see. This combination of intellect and fearlessness positions her as a formidable figure, someone who can dismantle even the most carefully prepared opposition with calm yet devastating efficiency. Her courtroom presence begins with preparation. Jasmine Crockett is known for meticulously studying every detail of her cases, leaving no stone unturned. This thorough groundwork gives her the confidence to walk into any confrontation fully aware of both her own strengths and the vulnerabilities of her opponent. When facing someone like Melania Trump, whose case rested not only on legal arguments but also on public perception, Crockett knew the stakes extended beyond the courtroom walls. She approached it not as a spectacle but as a battle of truth against facade, of substance against surface. Her fearless stance meant she would not allow celebrity status or political influence to cloud the pursuit of justice. In doing so, she positioned herself as the voice of reason, standing firm against attempts at intimidation and deflection. What truly sets Crockett apart is her ability to command respect through authenticity. She does not rely on theatrics or unnecessary dramatics to sway an audience, whether that audience is a jury, a judge, or the watching public. Instead, she leans on clarity, evidence, and sharp questioning that exposes contradictions and weaknesses. This approach is what makes her so effective against high-profile opponents, who often expect deference or hesitation. Melania Trump, used to environments where her name and image carried weight, found herself up against someone who refused to be dazzled or deterred. Crockett's calm but pointed style stripped away the aura of untouchability, reducing the confrontation to its essence, facts versus fiction. Her cross-examinations are a central aspect of this fearless presence. When Crockett questions witnesses, she does so with a mix of precision and patience, knowing exactly when to press harder and when to let silence expose the cracks in a testimony. Against powerful opponents, this skill becomes even more pronounced, as she uses their own words and contradictions to unravel their cases. In Melania's lawsuit, Crockett's ability to highlight inconsistencies made it clear that the foundation of the case was not as solid as it appeared. With every carefully crafted question, she cut deeper into the veneer, until the courtroom could no longer ignore the weaknesses exposed. Fearlessness also comes from resilience. High-profile cases often involve immense pressure, media scrutiny, and attempts at personal attacks meant to shake confidence. Crockett, however, has shown an unshakable ability to withstand such pressures. Instead of retreating, she uses adversity as fuel, transforming attempts at intimidation into opportunities to prove her strength. Facing Melania Trump was not just about arguing legal points, it was also about withstanding the weight of influence and expectation. Crockett's refusal to yield under that weight became a lesson in how true strength in the courtroom is measured not by who enters with the loudest name, but by who remains standing when the facts are laid bare. Another dimension of Crockett's courtroom dominance is her ability to connect legal principles to broader narratives of justice. She does not present arguments in isolation but ties them to themes that resonate with both the court and the public. This is especially powerful when dismantling high-profile figures, as it reframes the battle not as one of individual grievances but as a fight for truth, accountability, and fairness. In doing so, she takes control of the narrative, ensuring that the case is not seen as Melania Trump versus Jasmine Crockett alone, but as an example of how no one is above the law. This framing strengthens her arguments, as it places them in the larger context of justice that the courtroom is meant to uphold. Her fearlessness extends beyond her words and into her composure. Even in moments of heightened tension, Crockett remains steady, never allowing frustration or emotion to cloud her delivery. This poise not only unnerves opponents but also reassures observers that she is firmly in control. Against someone like Melania, whose strategy relied partly on projecting elegance and dignity, Crockett's steady presence was a stark contrast. While Melania sought to maintain an image, Crockett focused on exposing reality. That distinction became increasingly clear as the case unfolded, further eroding the foundation of Melania's position. In the broader landscape of law and politics, Crockett's fearless presence has become symbolic. It represents the idea that courage and clarity can dismantle privilege and pretense, that truth spoken with conviction can outweigh influence wielded through reputation. Each time she enters a courtroom against a powerful opponent, she demonstrates that the balance of justice does not bend to fame or fortune, but to the strength of argument and the resilience of those who dare to speak it. In her confrontation with Melania Trump, this fearless approach not only dismantled a case but also sent a message that reverberates far beyond the shocking testimony of the witness that collapsed. Melania Trump's legal strategy stands as the single most defining moment of the case, a moment that transformed what seemed like a carefully constructed battle into a swift and undeniable defeat. Melania Trump had entered the courtroom with the confidence of someone who believed her reputation and legal team had created an airtight case. For weeks, her lawyers crafted arguments designed to protect her public image while advancing the claim she believed would hold against scrutiny. The strategy relied heavily on controlling the narrative, on presenting a polished front that could withstand questioning and hold up under cross-examination. What her team had not anticipated was that a single witness, once sworn in and given the chance to speak, would dismantle that narrative in such a way that no counter-argument could repair it. The witness did not arrive with pomp or spectacle but with credibility and the weight of undeniable facts. From the beginning of their testimony, it became clear that this was not a person who could be shaken by intimidation or swayed by the courtroom dynamics that often protect high-profile figures. They spoke plainly, without exaggeration, yet every word carried the weight of authenticity. This simplicity was the weapon that struck hardest at Melania's case, because it contrasted sharply with the polished, rehearsed tone of the arguments presented by her lawyers. The testimony exposed cracks that had been carefully hidden, revealing truths that undercut the very foundation of her claims. Once those cracks appeared, the case unraveled quickly, like a thread pulled from a tightly woven fabric. What made this testimony so devastating was not just the content but the timing. The witness was introduced at a critical juncture when Melania's legal strategy seemed to be holding steady. Up until that point, her lawyers had deflected key points raised by Jasmine Crockett, insisting on their version of events with unwavering confidence. The courtroom atmosphere leaned toward predictability, as if the case might extend into long deliberations. Then, with the introduction of this testimony, the dynamic shifted entirely. The narrative Melania's team had carefully built began to collapse under the weight of contradiction. The testimony did not merely challenge her claims, it directly refuted them, leaving little room for doubt or reinterpretation. Single courtroom battle, the power of a witness lies not only in their words but in their credibility, and this particular witness carried both personal experience and documentary evidence that backed every assertion. The courtroom grew tense as each point was laid out, each detail corroborated, until the silence among Melania's legal team was telling in itself. No objection could erase the clarity of the facts being presented, and no amount of legal maneuvering could soften the blow. Each answer from the witness was like a strike against the carefully guarded shield of Melania's defense, until it shattered completely. What once appeared like a formidable case was now exposed as fragile, propped up on arguments that could not withstand the truth. The reactions in the courtroom underscored just how powerful the moment was. Observers leaned forward, sensing history in the making, while even the judge's demeanor shifted as the weight of the testimony became undeniable. Melania Trump, who had maintained her composure throughout much of the proceedings, was visibly unsettled. Her lawyers attempted to challenge the witness, probing for inconsistencies, but each attempt only reinforced the strength of their statements. The witness remained unshaken, confident in their knowledge, unwilling to be rattled by aggressive questioning. That poise added to their credibility, ensuring that their words landed with even greater impact. For Jasmine Crockett, this testimony became the turning point she needed. As a skilled legal mind, she recognized the power of letting the witness speak for themselves, knowing that their words carried more weight than any argument she could craft alone. She guided the testimony with precision, asking the right questions at the right moments, ensuring that the full truth was revealed without confusion or hesitation. It was a masterclass in how to use a witness not simply as a supplement to argument but as the decisive blow that could end a case entirely. Crockett's role in framing the testimony gave it structure, but it was the unshakable presence of the witness that ensured Melania's strategy could not survive. The aftermath of the testimony was immediate and irreversible. The courtroom energy shifted, and it was clear to all present that Melania's legal strategy had collapsed. What was once framed as a battle of equals now appeared hopelessly one-sided, with Crockett in control and Melania on the defensive. The testimony's revelations spread quickly beyond the courtroom, reaching the public through media coverage and sending shockwaves through political and social circles. The narrative that Melania Trump had tried so hard to control slipped completely from her grasp, replaced by one of defeat, exposure, and loss. This moment also carried broader implications, highlighting the fragility of legal strategies built on appearances rather than facts. The testimony showed that even the most powerful figures, armed with resources and legal teams, can see their defenses crumble when confronted with undeniable truth. It emphasized the importance of credibility over image, substance over performance, and truth over reputation. For Melania Trump, the witness was not just a challenge to her case but a force that ended it outright, leaving no room for recovery. The witness became more than just a participant in the trial, they became a symbol of accountability. Their testimony served as a reminder that power and influence cannot shield anyone from the truth, and that in the courtroom, the most unexpected voices can become the most decisive. The collapse of Melania's case was not due to long legal battles or extended deliberations but to a single moment where truth was spoken so clearly and forcefully that it dismantled everything standing against it.